We're visiting a beautiful garden, literally right on the beach, designed by me, yours truly, and I am happy to say that after 2 years, this garden has settled in really beautifully. It's the epitome of modern contemporary design. It combines various elements, plants that will stand the harsh sea air, the harsh winds, yet still be able to give us a softness that we all require within our gardens. And of course, every garden needs something of who the owner is. Who's the person who spends time in this? And this we managed to incorporate into this garden design with quite a nice effect. So let's go on a little bit further and explore the garden. Most importantly, we needed to make sure that the garden fitted in proportion with the home. The home is a triple story, so very, very high, and you couldn't have these little pimples of little plants right at the bottom. So large rectangular boxes were built to bring that proportion back into style again. And that really was the major framework of the garden. The first major feature of the garden are obviously these beautiful 4 planters. Yes, they needed to be big and bulky and really stand out. Plus, we were moving these tree aloes from outside to inside, so they needed something to really hold them. The next design element was finding the major apex. And you can see by the way it's been designed, literally in a cross, allowed us to balance the garden out. Loads of succulents, loads of grasses, which this environment truly loves, and then of course the big 1 by 1 meter pavers that don't look silly against these very, very large planter boxes. Below the big tree aloe, we needed one type of plant to be able to balance it all out. Having a licorice all sort look in here would really not hold this garden together. So a plant, indigenous, called Anthurium. It's now changed its name. It's called Chlorophytum saunders-eye, and it is one fabulous plant. Literally, when you've got it, you'll never get rid of it. It will seed itself and it'll pop up. It can grow in full sun, it can grow in deep shade, and it can grow right on the coast up to it gets a little bit cold. A brilliant plant. Every now and then, all you need to do, give it a good haircut, lift it and divide it, and you've got more. Excellent, tough, kan nie dood nie. In every good garden, you need the focal points. I know I go on and on and on about it, but guys, is there a reason why you're going to walk down the garden path? And off the main axis in this garden are these custom-made benches, and that is why we have these important focal points in the garden. You can see that one of the major features as you walk down the main axis of the garden is the piece of driftwood. Now there's an interesting story about the piece of driftwood. The owner loves taking walks along the beach and invariably comes across a great piece of driftwood. Then hauls her family down to the beach to drag it up. So when we arrived here at this garden, there were several pieces of driftwood just literally lying in a mess. And I spotted one, and we decided to make that one of the personal notes of the garden. Took it and had a plinth created for it, gave it a bit of a sandblasting, and there it stands, loud and proud. Another major feature in the garden, which literally allows you to stop and pause, because we need that. Stop and pause so that you can just stand and absorb what you're looking at before you start trundling in and throwing yourself into the garden, are these 2 beautiful pots. Note the size of them. They are over 1 meter in diameter. They need to be big because of the scale of these large tree aloes, the large boxes. And they need to be because of the size of the 4 square raised planters. What's inside them? Gorgeous echeverias, the vetblankie. Probably the most loved little succulent and probably plant in the whole of South Africa. If I take a look inside here, I might find, So you see what happens when one leaf falls off, one little leaf. Look at it, you've seen it before, we've shown you how to grow these. Look at that, a perfect little plant just starting to grow. sucking the energy from this leaf, and there are its little roots. Look at that, isn't it nunu? And as that develops, so it'll turn into, let's find another guy. Oh, here it is. Look at that. There's the shriveled leaf, used to be that, and now you've got an entire perfect little plant that is growing. Of course, these you take, plant somewhere else, put them in pots, or just replant them back into the pot. Too cute. Let's take a look at some of the plants in this garden. Obviously, it's a very simple garden palette. The plants need to be able to cope with this very harsh climate right on the seashore where the winds, rain, you name it, comes and hits these plants. So starting off with the big guys, we've obviously got the tree aloes working really well, holding fort, commanding the area, and that gives it the real structure. Moving down into the next layer, we've got the strelitzia. Strelitzia, of course, the bird of paradise plant, fantastic. 1 meter by 1 meter, nice and structured, and of course the birds also love, and it's indigenous as well. Edging the whole garden is Philodendron Xanadu, a firm favorite in gardens that we are looking to implement, which are easy. They work beautifully in pots, they work great en masse, and you can see they're nice and compact because of the harsh climate. If you were to put this plant into a more shaded position, it would get a bit taller and its leaves a bit broader, but a good all-round plant that will give you no nonsense. And on a completely different look and feel, the area which divides the two homes, we've gone with a very soft meadowy feel, but of course all indigenous. We've got the tall tree aloes to repeat what happened on that side so that there's still a bit of balance. Aloe ferox again, beautiful Aristides. We've added in the indigenous lilies, which of course is dietes, and they just work. So combinations of fine textures, broad leaves, and the stars of the show are the euphorbias against the wall. An interesting challenge that we came across in this garden was dealing with the dogs. Aha! Now, when dogs have decided on a pathway, that is their path. Don't fight it. Don't try and put up wire or thorns or anything. Allow the dogs and work around that space. So with that in mind, we literally created a dry riverbed pathway so that they can still run up and down and enjoy the garden. Gardens need to be shared with the birds, with the bees, with us, and with our fur kids. And that worked particularly well.